Okay folks, we're back. We get set up here. We're going to take off this nut on the brake cam. As you can see, it's adjustable here. So I don't know how hard it is to see on camera. I took my little cutoff wheel and made a little notch there so we can kind of tell roughly where it was at. Also on the back side here, there's a pin to hold this inner piece on. I took my cutoff wheel and ground one side flush there so we can drive it through after we get the nut off here. All right, let's see, it looks like that's a 7/8 nut. Let's see if we can get it off from there. All right, plug your ears. Came right off, had no cotter pin in it, even though I see it's got a hole. Here's what we were talking about being fully adjustable. This row of teeth here corresponds to the other side. So that's cool. And actually the brake rod pin hole is pretty good on this piece. So all we'll do is bead blast that up and paint it. Alright, now let's take a hammer and a punch. And let's try to drive that pin out. Okay, that came right out. And I suppose we had to drive that off. Let's put the nut back on. Let's start it backwards so we aren't beating on the crown. Just like that. Spin the nut off. Okay. Here's what that little piece looks like. There's where I ground the pin off. Then you don't have to pound so hard. Alright, let's pull this shaft out. Oh, well, the shaft is worn quite a bit too. Oh, let me see, how do we get there? There we go. Come on, focus. You can see there's a lip there. And I see what looks to be a bushing in there. Let's get a little light on the subject. Yep, it looks like it. It does have an oil cap on it too. I would assume we're probably going to have to pry that out to get the bushing out. Oh, now here's going to be fun. The bushing, we're going to have to take off this tin plate, the backing plate. So we'll get stuff lined up to do that. We'll clean this up here a little bit so we can see what we're doing, and then we'll try and tap that bushing out. All right, hold on. Be right back. Okay, folks, and we're back. As you can see, I slid this over and put it up in my vise. I have the other end resting, so we have to get this tin plate off. So we have to take out this bolt, which is the brake shoes pivot on, and this big bolt, or big nut, sorry, that the spring perch is in. So let's start at the bottom one with the big one. I think that's 1.25 inches. Taking the key out. Okay, that come right off. So you can see the only one that's in the way is that one. So not a big deal. It's just sometimes things turn bigger. That one came out pretty hard. You can see it's threaded all the way. This hole in here is also threaded, plus it has a jam nut on the back. So we'll probably be running a tap through there. Okay, now we can pull off this tin plate. Put that over there. And now you can see this is our spring perch here. We'll just tap just in the middle. That should just tap right out. Yep. Now I didn't hit the threads. So now, I don't know if you can see how egg-shaped that is. It's just about worn through there. So that way we can service this much easier. Especially if we would happen to have to run a mill down it or something. So I guess it's a good deal. So we'll get that out. And next we have to figure out if there's a bushing in here. Be right back. Okay, we've got that cleaned off right here. So many holes you get a little confused, but this is the bushing, and as you can see, there is a brass bushing in there. So that's good. Brass is nice and easy to work with. Brass and or bronze, doesn't really matter. I've got a 3/8 drive. It's actually an impact socket, 9/16. That's pretty close to the right size. Now, I don't know if that oil cap has to come out or not. Let's drive on it a little bit and just see. And there we have it. Oh, and it is a split bushing too. So that's kind of cool. But you can see it's hard to tell on the screen here. It's just about worn through. That 9/16 impact socket fits that perfectly. So there, we've got this bushing out. We will need to recreate it. What's funny is the split, well, I guess here's the oil hole. Okay. I was going to say there was no oil hole. It was plugged tight with garbage. So it does have the oil hole in it. So we will be pulling out that little oiler because we'll have to drill this hole. It's best just to do it in place. So we'll maybe order some of them little flip-top oilers. We'll see. All right, so one bushing. So we have the bushing to measure. We'll have to measure that cam, the shaft on that little brake cam, see if it's something that, since we're making a new bushing, that maybe we can stick that in the lathe and just machine it, till it's square and consistent in size. Then we can make our bushing whatever size we want. Or I'll dig through and see how easily I can access a couple spares and see if they're better. But, we're not looking for, performance kind of fitness here. We just want to take some of the wobble out of it. So, all right, one bushing down. Next, we're going to move this housing, which the only thing it needs is to be cleaned up. And we'll get this bushing, the stuff ordered up, and then we're going to work on getting the perch bushing out. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. As you can see, we have our spring perch stood up in the vise here with this piece resting on top of the vise. I did screw the nut back on in case we bumped anything. Same size socket, seems to line up fairly well. It's a little smaller, but I think I'm going to put just a little heat on here, just with a MAP gas torch, just to try and break that bond. And not talking a lot of heat. Just enough. This metal will expand a little. I'll try a little over here. There's a lid will open on the oiler now. It was stuck. We'll probably put new ones of those in. So like I say, it doesn't take much heat. Alright, let's give that a couple whacks and just see what it does. We don't want to get carried away here. I think it might have moved. I'm going to get a bigger hammer, but I think it did go down in a little ways. And I'm going to spray a little penetrant now that I can see the edge of it. When it's hot, it'll run down in. She's boiling there. Whew, about got my finger, but it's going. Let's put a little more penetrant in there. Kind of let her soak down in a minute. She's just about out. We gotta be careful we don't hit the vise here. In case you're wondering, this is not one of my good sockets, okay? I keep around all my old sockets. Or if I go to an auction and buy a box of sockets, then I know which ones I can beat on. Okay, I need a little something put on there with a spacer. Okay, we hit the vise. So remember, this is warm. I scoot her over here to the edge. All right, just like that. Now, socket's hot. That thing is hot. But there we have it. That's also a split bushing. And I see it is steel. So, and it is, I don't know if you can see, that thing is hot, but see where it's worn pretty good there. Just about worn through. Oh, this side you can see it better. All right, so there's bushing number 2 we have to recreate. So that came out without a lot of issue. Yes, we did put a little nick on the perch, but we'll grind that flat and nobody will ever know the difference. You know what's kind of crazy? You see the size of this compared to my thumb here. Okay. That isn't very big diameter there. The whole weight of whatever's on that truck and in that bed, so let's say a yard of gravel or more, all that weight sits right on this cast piece here. So it's kind of amazing. And it's at such a right angle too. So it's good quality stuff. All right, we're gonna let that cool off naturally. And then the next one that needs to come out is in the spring. So let's see what we can do there. All right, we'll be back. Okay, here we are at the rear spring bushing. These aren't worn quite as much as the ones on the rear end side, but while we're here, let's just take them out. If we're making, it's just as easy to make 4 as it is 2. And there's a lot of rust in there. So what I'm going to try to do here is right here I have a ball joint remover tool. This is an OTC that we use all the time on our regular shop side. Harbor Freight sells a cheaper version of this, you know, all those Amazon or Jungle Company stuff. So the end of it here is actually just the right size that we need. And then this side will rest against the spring and let the bushing go through. So let's put this down here. We're going to let it just hang down. Let gravity help us out there. We'll kind of get centered up on it. All right. Now, we're going to use an impact on this. Yes, these are designed to be used with an impact. So no, I can't believe you're using that with an impact. So we're just going to snug it up. Okay? Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give just a little bit of heat with our MAP gas torch. Won't hurt the spring at all. Doesn't take a lot. Alright, that should be enough. Shut that off. Do that. Alright, let's see what we can do here. Plug your ears. Oops. coming. A lot of rust in there. I'm gonna get a little penetrant spray in there. Let's not knock the frame off, huh? Shall we? Sheesh. Let that run in. It's still nice and warm. Okay, now we've got to stop because our screw is bigger. Take that off, insert the socket in there, like this. Crooked. There it is. Just like that. Everything is hot, so, you know, be mindful of that. But there it is. You can see it's still smoking. We're gonna let that cool. Then we're going to clean these holes out. All right, there we go. We got those out. I've already done the other side. We'll get those measured up. We'll get the shackles out, get those cleaned up, see how much they're worn, and we'll come up with a plan. All right, we'll see you then.